Hello and welcome to our conversation today, where we are going to be tackling the importance of diversity in franchising. Today, I'm very excited for our guest. Toni Harris-Taylor is joining us. If you don't know her, she is the dynamic force behind the Multicultural Franchise Connectors and Drastic Franchise Matchmakers. As the executive director and president, Toni is passionate about educating and empowering minorities to explore franchise opportunities, fostering community growth and economic advancement. Through Drastic Franchise Matchmaker, she connects aspiring entrepreneurs with their ideal franchise opportunities, transforming dreams into thriving realities. Toni's dedication to inclusivity and bold action makes her a leading voice in the franchise world. Today, we are going to be talking about the importance of diversity in franchising and all business, really, and Toni's extensive work in that space. So thrilled to have you here, Toni. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Michelle, for inviting me and bringing what is a sensitive subject today to the top, because this is something we can't just sweep under the rug. Let's have the real conversation.
Absolutely. Toni and I think we were connected because you just reached out after an IFA or something like that. But Toni has been a speaker at our FBR Summit. She's everywhere. We were just talking about that before we hit play. She really is out in the community, just spreading the word. Part of it is just letting people know that franchising is an opportunity as a wealth creator. So that's number one. So I want to start by talking about, what do you think, and there's a lot, but what do you think are the barriers to getting more minority owners into franchise opportunities? Let's tackle that first.
It's not financial. And that's the
Interesting.
biggest myth that I feel that the franchise community um, feels like minorities don't have access to capital. So we have 700 credit scores. We have 10% down. We're not aware that, and we're going to talk about that second, but we're not aware that you can fund a franchise like you fund student loans.
Yeah.
And so it's not financial. So can we take that off the table?
We can, because that was actually on my list, Toni. So already learning something. Yeah,
So
excellent.
right away, the first thing that comes to my mind, the barriers is awareness.
Agreed.
Franchising is not in our networks telling us what's possible.
I love
Now,
that.
I do a lot of conferencing. That's how we got connected. So I do conferences on both sides, the franchise side and the ethnic community side. And I'm not even talking about ethnicity, because this is also a women's issue.
Yes.
They're not at women's events, they're not at Black events, they're not at Hispanic events. And so it's a lack of awareness. So when I straw poll my network and when I say the word franchising, what do you think? Every time, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Subway, Starbucks. Then I say, um, okay, I'm going to level that and let you know that there are home based, lower cost franchises that you can get into. And then I say, what do you think franchising is all about? And they know that people know that it's a proven system. They know that they get support. They just think they can't afford it. So
Okay.
on our side, there's a lack of awareness. On the franchise side, there's a lack of awareness. So on the franchise side, franchise brands don't know that they can show up in the rooms where we are. Give you a great example.
Let's hear
I
it.
went to Vegas, the Nationals. You're gonna have to jump in and stop me because I could.
I promise I will.
Okay, so I'm gonna breathe because I get passionate about
I can
this.
hear it. It's great.
Because off let me say what I was gonna say. So I went to Vegas in August to the National Sales Network Conference. Look it up, people. National Sales Network. There are 1,200 African American people there, primarily pharmaceutical sales and medical device salespeople. 70 to 80% have that background. Now let's talk about it. In franchising, one of the biggest challenges is getting your franchisees in the mindset to sell. Here we have an organization full of college educated brown people who already know selling is important, and y'all ain't there.
Yeah, that's great.
And
Were
so,
was there anyone besides you there talking about franchising or
no,
no? Okay.
no,
All right.
no.
So you do work with candidates. So you help candidates find brands that are a good fit for what's in their goals, how they want to make their money, how they want to grow their business. And you
Yes,
also speak to franchisors and to their franchisees because you are a franchisee as well. So you
yes,
have this kind of, you know what it's like to run a business in franchising. You're helping to
yes,
educate franchisors on how to make their franchisees grow their businesses by selling, by networking, by being in their communities. You're kind of educating it from both sides, which I really, really love. What I want to do is I'm going to pop in some of our data. So I was just looking it up so that we could kind of understand what the landscape of franchising looks like according to our data. So again, this is based on brands that have taken part in our survey. 30,000 responses we're talking about. Roughly 29% of franchises are owned by people of color versus 17%, which is a number I found, of independent businesses. We have a lot of work to do, but we do have good representation compared to standalone businesses versus franchising. I'm not saying it's a great number. And 32% of the franchisees that responded to our survey are owned by women. So they're not super impressive numbers, but I want to just kind of talk about that. That's where we are. That's where we are today. Tons of room for improvement, but that's what we're seeing in our data today. So mostly a male white response is happening in our data. So we're going to change that.
yes, we are. And
So
thank
you're,
you for sharing those numbers.
yeah,
They're better than I found, so I'd like for you to send me those
yeah,
numbers
sure.
and the
Yeah.
sources. Then so the next question is, then why aren't these people of color in the room at the conferences I attend?
Yeah. Yeah. So what I want to talk about is when you go to these networks. So I'm focusing on the potential franchise owner side. So when you go to these events, how are you positioning franchising to them? It's just and also I want to go back to your straw poll that you do. I'll do that amongst my friends as well, and I get the same answers. So we all have a better job to do of just talking about how we make our living in franchising and the opportunities that are available here to grow your own wealth. So across the board, everybody should be talking about that. But tell me, when you go into a space, your mindset is you want to make sure that people understand franchising is a vehicle that they should consider as far as if they're making a change in their career or how they make money. What do you say to them? How do you pitch franchising to a person that only knows the Chick-fil-A, McDonald's type of model in the world?
Yeah. So first of all, I wear my fly backpack. My backpack is flashing, "Don't start a business, buy a franchise." So
Love that.
it strikes up a ton of conversation. And so people say, "Okay, well, and then my name tag says, all right. So,
Ask me about franchising, just for anyone
correct.
that's just audibly listening to this.
Yes. So it says, ask me about franchising.
Love that.
So, oh, Tony, tell me about franchising. Well, did you know that over 60% of franchises are not food?
Great
No,
start.
we didn't know that. So many of them are less than $150,000. They are home based. They are easily accessible. The SBA gives you loans, and all you've got to do is come up with 10% down. Did you know that?
Love it.
No, I didn't know that. My favorite franchise to talk about now is the pet waste franchise. Come on now, the average franchisee is making over $1 million picking up dog poop. Did you know that? No.
We got
And
to
then
get rid
I
of that
talk,
poop.
I know, and they do it every day, all day. And so then I say franchising is accessible for us. Now, I gotta also just it, I put in there, it costs you nothing to explore, and I just want to educate you on what's possible. When I tell you the guard goes way down, because people are like, I don't want to get into food and I don't have $1 million. Great. Because I'm not really, I mean, I'll put you in one, but I just educate them. But it starts with just bringing the barrier way down. And home services. I really talk about home services because a lot of those are small office or home based, and they making a killing. And so I throw in things like residential cleaning, pet waste, and I remind them you're the owner. That's the other thing. I'm not selling jobs. I'm letting them know they are the business owner and that these businesses can make a big difference.
I love it. So I want to talk about some resources specifically to the community, the people of color community, of how you can connect them with others or what type of support is out there. I'm going to start with International Franchise Association's Franchise Ascension initiative because, again, I don't think that a lot of people know about it. But I think that this was put together 2 or 3 years ago with a focus on getting underrepresented groups that are at an economic disadvantage, education, mentorship, accessibility to those resources to help them get started in franchising. So that is something to check out. IFA's website, franchise.org. That's one potential way that you could look for more education. They actually pair you with mentors if you apply to that program, coaching. So you're going to get a lot of access to resources that can help you get into ownership.
Yes,
What
and
are some
I signed up to be a mentor, so
Yay! Yeah,
yeah,
excellent, excellent.
as
So,
if I'm not busy enough.
yeah, well, I was gonna say, yeah. So what other resources do you point people to, or what other resources are you partnering with so that people don't feel like they're going at this alone?
Well, first of all, I launched Multicultural Franchise Connectors, a 501(c)(3). We are working on our programming right now as we speak to steer people in the right direction. But the truth is, it is not much out there. It's just not. I haven't found it, and please send it to me in LinkedIn if you know of a resource that is talking to our communities besides IFA, and shout out to IFA for putting the Ascension program in place. It's a beautiful start, beautiful start. But we need more voices.
I have a couple I'm going to share. Key for Women from Key Bank. That is, they put together a program that is financial advice and solutions, also teaching leadership skills, mentoring and networking targeted at women. So that you can check out Key for Women if you just Google that. That's one that I know of. I know that there's some franchisor brands that are doing more as well to try and bring more people of color and women into their systems. It doesn't mean that they're, again, educating people that the opportunity is there. But I think that once they find the brand, they are trying to put more into place to help them get into business. The Multicultural Food Service and Hospitality Alliance, they have a program that's called Pathways to Black Franchise Ownership. A PepsiCo has donated a lot of money to try and help educate and get more Black owners into franchise restaurants specifically. So that's also a resource if you are in the food mindset to look at that as well. And
Love
then
it.
and then I think there's also too, there's an opportunity, I sit on the University of Louisville's board. They have a franchise center, but we're seeing more franchising classes or education pop up at the undergrad level in colleges. And I think that there's an opportunity for those programs as well to try and target minority students to get that type of education. And I think we can hit them at a younger age when they're thinking about those careers, as that's an opportunity that they could kind of try and find a path forward to. Those are some ones that I pulled together for our conversation
Yeah,
today.
and I appreciate those. Again, send me all these resources. But here's the common thread with those. They're mostly food.
Yeah.
They're
That,
mostly food. So you trade brands, Neighborly, Authority, Horsepower, need to put together trade programs
yes.
to help reach the people.
So, what do you think are some things, and this is for everybody, when people are looking at a franchise opportunity, what advice do you give them? How do you tell them to look at the brand or red flags to kind of keep their eye out if they are considering a franchise?
So, first, of course, as a broker, we start with the introduction. So we have to do our research ourselves. And then, ChatGPT is our friend now, so you can put that FDD in ChatGPT and ask them what are some of the red flags.
I love that.
Uh-huh.
You're the first guest that has suggested that.
Yeah. And then, of course, validation. And I help them with what questions to ask during validation so they can ask the hard questions, but also set up their expectations that franchising is not a easy it's a easier, but it doesn't mean it's easy. People fail at franchising because they won't show up. And so asking the hard questions as well.
Do you think that there's anything they can do to suss out the culture of the brand to make sure that it is a team or just a brand that is focusing on the success specifically of their minority owners? Because I think what we see is the franchisors that put the most emphasis on initial training and getting you open are having a better result in making sure that those franchise owners are off to a great start. So what kinds of support and things should people be looking at to make sure that they feel supported once they sign on that dotted line?
Yeah. So again, that's a validation question, that asking direct culture questions, asking, not being afraid to ask, what are you doing for women in your brand? What are you doing for minorities in your brand? And then also, the best candidate's going to ask, well, how can I help you? Right? To further the charge as well.
I love that.
And so it is a group effort. And
Yeah,
it's not just I teach my people who come in my ecosphere, they know you've gotta be a giver as well as a receiver. And so even when you are looking at a franchise, what can you bring to the table that will help that franchisor
I
be
love that.
successful as
Yeah,
well?
yeah. You're always so good about asking what you can do for me when we talk, and it sometimes is uncomfortable because I'm not the person that asks for a lot of help. So I think offering help and also asking how you can help people is a great mindset to get into. I'm always happy to help and ask people what I can do to help, but I'm not the easiest to offer up how you can help me. So I always appreciate I'm always ready for that question when we
It
talk.
does, and it's a question that will stump the
Yeah.
person. People are like, "Oh, I wasn't prepared to answer that." But if you're and this comes with networking training, I'm just gonna throw that in there because you gotta learn how to answer that question so that you can receive what you really went to get.
Yeah. We talked about this before we started, but diversity is very good for business on your teams, in your franchise networks, in your customers. This is what we should all be striving for because it makes our businesses healthy and strong and having the most opportunity to grow. There's not a lot of people of color in the broker networks. We need to see people being successful in the areas that we're envisioning our future. So we all have a responsibility, women, people of color, to tell our stories so that other people can see that we're successful in these areas. I loved that you said if you also are a part of a franchise network, how can you help your franchisor be better at telling those stories or showing what ownership looks like for everybody, every type of person that's being successful in the models. I think that's a really good tip. Look for those photos, those visual cues on their marketing materials, on their
Sure.
website, ask those questions, talk to those owners in the system. I think those are all really great ways to
And
kind of
it
figure that
it
out.
it it has to be more than a check the box.
Yeah. Yeah,
And if
absolutely.
you really and franchisors, development people, hear this. If you're really serious about diversity, you gotta get in the rooms where we are, because we don't know y'all exist either.
Yeah.
So somebody's gotta take the first step to show up in the rooms.
Yeah.
And so we gotta start inviting franchise curious people into the room. And so I'm having an event, and so whenever it's appropriate, I'd like to mention that.
Yeah, go ahead. Because I was going to ask you, what types of events or what kind of resources are out there do you think that there are for candidates to learn about franchise opportunities? So I think
Yeah.
go ahead and tell us about your event now.
So I'm drastic, right? I just got to the franchise broker side of things, and they're like, "You're having an event?" Again, I've not seen anybody do this. I could be happening, but oh, I do. Tarji Carter. So shout out to Tarji. Um, but I'm having a virtual event where I'm putting 15 franchisors in front of franchise curious people, potential candidates. And it's Saturday, November 22nd from 9 to 5 Central Time. And you can find it at franchiseconnectlive.com. Franchiseconnectlive.com. And I'm so proud because I've got a diverse group of franchisor representatives with a diverse audience.
Love it.
Come on, y'all. And
Love it.
so share it with those who might be franchise curious. And let's just come up with something that is going to change the trajectory of people's lives.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also expos. There's different organizations
Yeah.
that they're called franchise expos. They're
Yeah.
usually regional. You just came from one in LA. There's one in New York. So I know national franchise events is one. FV is another one.
MFE.
But I think those are low.
Let me say something about those expos, can
Yeah.
I?
Yeah.
I've been to 3 of them with MFV. Shout out to the MFV family. The people walking through there are not white.
That's
The people
awesome.
coming through the franchise expos to buy are not. I'm like, wow, the word is somehow word is getting out.
I want to just go back to those expos because our audience might not have ever attended one. So
Okay.
these shows are the franchise brands have booths and they're trying to sell their dream to you walking the floor. So what I want to say, it's a low barrier of being hard sold, that you can just be curious, walk those aisles, see the variety of franchise brands that are there. There's a variety of investment levels. There's a variety of segments of business that they're in. So I think it's a great way to just, if you are curious, I also love this franchise curious term you're using. It's the first I've heard of it. It's an easy way to just go see what's out there, ask questions. There's usually some educational component to it. Our founder, Eric Stites, will do how much money can I make? Biggest question that people want to ask. And he's trying to help people understand how to get there. So I think that those are worth checking out because there's usually no cost to attend them if you're just curious about franchising, and there's usually an education component. You can just Google what might be in your area because a lot of brokers will do regional ones as well. It's an opportunity in person to ask some questions or see what they're about. But yeah,
I
continue
love
on what you're going
that.
to say about the
I
expos.
love that. And yes, so here's the other message. All money is green. And if you're not getting in those communities, you're lacking green money. I heard Van Jones from CNN speak recently, and I want to speak now to the other side, the people who have communities that are minorities. What he said was, as African Americans, as minorities, we are sending the wrong message to the Caucasian community. In other words, the message is, y'all got too much. We we have too little. You need to give us some of what you got versus us saying, well, money is green. We can help you grow. We can help you to win, and both sides win.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see what he was exactly saying when he said that. Listen, y'all need to come get this green money. Because the truth is, the population is changing, the demographics are changing, and the age is changing. Millennials is a culture. So when I did multicultural, it wasn't just ethnicity, it was women, pre-retirees, veterans, and then also millennials. Lord knows they're a culture all in themselves. So that that is has nothing to do with ethnicity. Let's show up where these people are and let's make green money together,
Yeah.
y'all.
That's great. Excellent. Is there anything that we haven't talked about? Any advice that you want to give to people that are curious about franchising? What would you tell them where to show up? Obviously, they can reach out to you directly. We want them to ask questions. We're happy to answer questions. I will also say Franchise Business Review has done a top franchises for Black entrepreneurs, for Black enterprise. They're a great publication. They cover all business, not just franchising. Because again, that's kind of our mission at FBR too, is We want to help people explore franchising to understand if it's right for them. There's still other opportunities for people that are interested in entrepreneurship or just being part of corporate teams. There's lots in franchising that you can be involved with. Anything else that you would offer to this community of how to connect with others, find information, or just figure out what their next move is in their career?
So, as you can see over my head, my slogan: show up, be up, follow up to blow up. So, that's the formula.
Yeah,
It's the formula for life success. You got to be in the room where your prospects are. You can't just say we have a plan for diversity, check the box, and you're not even showing the plan to the people who can make a difference. You got to have good energy. You got to be welcoming. You've got to just, everybody can come in here. Let's grow together. And then follow up. So, that goes without saying. You're in sales. We are all in sales. Follow up, and your life and your business will blow up. And I,
love
I
that.
I just can't say it any better than that. Pick up the book if you want to really get the formula. But call me. I want to help. I
Yeah.
want to help.
Yeah. I love that. And I think also too, just remembering that franchising is a pretty special space. We do want to share and help encourage people. And what I think is so special about franchising is it's an equal playing field. You have access to a playbook to start and grow a business, and it is a great way to come in. And as I know it's used a lot, but I do like it that you are in business for yourself, but not by yourself. You have access to other people that are running the same brand or same business as you that you can learn from their mistakes, share best practices. So I think this is a community. There's tons of people in franchising that are focused on getting a more diverse look at owners in franchising, suppliers. We want to see it all because it does make us stronger as an industry when we're all successful. I don't know if you have anything else that you want to do to wrap this up, but
I always want to
really,
say thank you to you, FBR, Eric, your family. You guys have been such a voice, and y'all challenge things, and I appreciate that. And so I just love what FBR is doing. But Michelle, y'all's love, you wear it on the outside.
oh, thanks. We love franchising, but there's plenty of opportunity for us to be better. And we're hoping to continue raising the bar and getting everybody on our Love Fest party train. But thank you for always being so great about FBR and sharing your love of us because we do appreciate it. And we just see all the great things that you're doing for our community too. So thank you for always showing up and challenging us to be better and invite more people in to our franchise party. Thanks so
Awesome.
much.